I'm Batman. I'm awesome. I got a 9-pack. I'm awesome.
Hello everyone, welcome back to These Nerds. I'm Michelle.
I'm Chris.
And today we are here with another What Are We Watching? Alright, so before we get started today, I do want to remind you that if you enjoy our content, please be sure to go like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our other videos. Alright, we got to talk about the elephant in the room today. And his name is the Batman. We have already seen it. And our thoughts have already been posted in a review, which we will put up here in a card. So you can go click it, go watch that review, and then come back here so you can, not miss out on all the epicness that is the Batman.
It will be a spoiler review, so if you have not seen it, don't watch the video yet. But once you've seen it, come back, watch it, so that we don't want to spoil you guys. Not at all.
All right, so speaking of seeing things in the movie theaters, there is something else that we saw in the theater recently that we wanted to make sure that we talked about.
Well, we watched Murder on the Orient Express again, because it is such a great mystery movie, and I really love what Kenneth Branagh has done with the Poirot character, and I just feel like this is a really strong film. I remember whenever I saw this film, we didn't see this one in theaters.
No, we didn't.
But I remember, I was feeling pretty, glum about watching movies in general when I first saw that with some friends of ours. And that, made me love movies. I had so much fun watching it. It was just a whole lot of fun. Everybody, it's such a star-studded cast. And like I said, Kenneth Branagh as a director and as Poirot is just absolutely great.
Yeah, he's wonderful. And has arguably the most magnificent mustache of all time.
It's pretty epic in that it's actually part of the beard line too.
Yes.
So it's pretty cool.
And then he has that perfect little cover for it when he sleeps.
Exactly. But then we watched Death on the Nile in theaters.
Yes.
And man, it's another winner. I don't know. I just really love Kenneth Branagh's take on Poirot. And I don't know. I thought, again, even though, he's kind of turned out to be a creep in real life, I thought Armie Hammer was good in his role. Gal Gadot is stunning in the movie, as usual, as she is in anything else. I'm trying to... Letitia Wright, she had an interesting role. I thought the music in it was really cool. I love the old-timey kind of blues music. That was really great. And just, I don't know, the intrigue and it's really interesting because, I don't want to do any spoilers here, really, because it's still a fairly new movie. But it's you start off thinking one way that something's going to happen, and then you get taken way off base, and it's really cool how it all kind of wraps up. And just a real big fan of the movie. I hope that they get to do another one, because I don't know if it's doing that great in theaters, but I hope that, it's just the situation that everyone understands. It's the situation with, being delayed a bunch of times, the whole situation with Armie Hammer, and they just understand, look, Kenneth Branagh can do these movies really well, and he deserves to do another one.
Yeah, and I think this one was noticeably different than Murder on the Orient Express. It kind of takes a little bit different tone with things. The situation is quite a bit different. And you get a lot of Poirot's backstory this time, which I really enjoyed. I always like knowing more about my main characters, and so to kind of get to see some of where he came from and why he is what he is was really good for me.
Yeah, and it was, I love the beginning part of the film, which is one thing I've seen some people criticize, is that it is a slow burner of a movie. It doesn't start off really crazy at the beginning, even as fast moving as Murder on the Orient Express was at the beginning. It does take its time to kind of get to where it needs to go, but I also would make the argument that a lot of older movies did just that, and that sometimes a slow burn is a good thing, and I really enjoyed that in this case. I thought it was a great beginning.
I almost felt like this was like Murder on the Orient Express, but in reverse. Because Murder on the Orient Express, you start out essentially knowing nothing about all of these characters, and then things happen, and then you find out the deep backstories. Whereas, and I felt like in this one, they take the time to build up all the characters first, and then stuff happens, and then we're just kind of left with the results to kind of figure out how it all ties together. So I don't know, I just felt like the movie was built a little differently.
I'll also say that this movie, as far as body count goes, is a lot higher than what was on Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah, a little bit.
Definitely. So, but definitely our recommendation is go see it. It's really great, especially if you love the first movie.
Yes, definitely. All right, so We've also been watching a few things on streaming lately, stuff that I think was all been exclusive to streaming. Um, I was kind of sick here in the last week or so, so I found myself Netflixing some romantic comedies, and I went back to one that's not new. It's Set It Up. I think it came out in like 2017 or 2018. Um, and it was, I honestly don't think I know any of the actors in it besides Lucy Liu. And um, she was like the main corporate woman, but the whole premise behind it is essentially that these two assistants are highly overworked. Their bosses never leave the office, and so they're constantly stuck there. And so the two of them decide to try to get their bosses to fall in love, so that hopefully, if they have their own personal life, that they will leave, and then they can go like live their own lives. Um, of course, you know, chaos ensues, things don't turn out like they plan, whatever, but it's just a cute romantic comedy. I wouldn't say it's like my super favorite or anything, but it was an enjoyable one, and that wasn't the first time I'd seen it. I had watched that one before. So I do think my favorite part in that whole movie is the girl, Harper, I think her name is. She tells the guy character about like she does this thing called over dicking around, and he's like, "That's so not a thing." She's like, "No, it's like when you show up somewhere too early and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna go do something for a little while and then I'll come back when it's time, but then you overdo it, and then when you come back you're late." And he's like, "That's so not a thing." And then later in the movie,
Yeah.
he does exactly that, and then he's like, "Dang it, I did it."
We've done that before.
Yes, we have.
I think one time we attended a basketball game and we were like, oh, we'll go to the mall and do some shopping, and then we got back and we realized, oh no, it's like right before I had
Yeah.
to book it to make it. So that is indeed a thing.
So yeah, that's that part of the movie I always just find the most relatable out of anything that happens in that movie.
Yeah. Well, I kind of went the opposite way of a romantic comedy, and I watched a hardcore slasher movie. I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was a direct sequel to the original 1974 film, and I have seen a lot of things on Twitter about this one. Several tweets calling it the worst movie ever made, and I did a YouTube short on this where I kind of gave a little bit of my thoughts here. I'll go a little bit more in depth on right here. But overall, it's a slasher movie. Like, this is coming from someone who loves, especially the original Halloween, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, the original Friday the 13th. There are some fantastic movies that are slashers. I would even count Psycho and the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre in that. They're great films, but still, they're slashers. They're meant to have high body counts. I don't really see where this movie failed. This movie did what it set out to do. It's extremely gory, which ties into a lot of the ideas of what you would think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre would be. I thought it set up relatively well with the 1974 movie. There's some obvious inconsistencies there, but I mean, that's just going to happen. But overall, I thought it worked really well. I thought that the characters were really interesting. I actually really liked the two sisters. I know I've seen several people really hate on one of the sisters, and I can kind of see the point with some of the sort of cultural wars that we may see these days. But I actually really thought that they were a good pair, and I really loved and hated the ending at the same time. I thought it was really one of those like, oh my gosh, kind of a moments. And, if you know, you know, I'm not going to spoil it for you. But overall, I thought it was a pretty strong slasher. I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre for me has been one of those franchises that I love the original, and I have not really liked anything ever since. The remake was okay, but I actually think this was a really strong sequel. And it's probably, I'm interested to see where this goes. I mean, they've obviously alluded to that there's a lot to go there, but I really recommend it. I think that, if you're a fan of slashers, at least check it out with an open mind. But I really enjoyed it quite a bit.
I think it's, for the record, live in the land of nope for me, because I can't do things with cannibalism.
Watching this, I mean, you have some slashers you'll watch. Like, you love you love several movies in the Halloween series, Nightmare on Elm Street series. I think if the story's good, you can get into it. That's my take from you anyway. But I was like 10 minutes into this, I was like, this is no way a Michelle movie at all. This is a Chris thing.
Yes. There are certain movies and certain franchises we just know that Michelle lives in the land of nope. So,
And it's all good. So
so I watched another romantic comedy. Again, it was one I had seen before and it was not new, and it was another 2017-2018 one. It was also on Netflix. It was When We First Met with Adam Devine, I think that's how you say his name. Devine. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. The guy from Pitch Perfect.
yeah.
So anyway, it was with him. It's a funny one. It's cute. Again, it's not like the most magnificent masterpiece of movies ever made, but basically the concept is that he's been in love with his best friend for like the 3 years since he first met her, and she friend zoned him immediately. And when she's at her engagement party, he just kind of has this total breakdown and gets drunk and goes back to this place where they met, and were in to get this old school photo booth together. And ends up going back in time, and it's one of those like he keeps going back in time trying to correct like all of his mistakes until he finally figures it out kind of movie. So it's cute. Again, not a cinematic masterpiece, but I was sick and I wanted comforting romantic comedies that didn't make me think too hard, so it was fun.
Yeah. And then I finished up, not necessarily in the movie world, but it sort of is, but I finished up the Peacemaker series. Y'all, this is just one of the best things DC has done, in my opinion. Just the whole series is just an absolute must watch. I love the team that they put together there. Whether it was Adebayo or Harcourt, I thought that both of those characters were really interesting. Vigilante almost stole the whole dang thing for me. I thought he was so funny, and really want to see more of that character. Of course, they've greenlit a season 2, and I'm really excited to see where that goes. John Cena, I honestly didn't realize how good of an actor he actually is, and the range that he actually has. He can do there are moments of true character growth for Peacemaker in this, and there's moments of really great comedy, really great action, and real tenderness from John Cena. And so I thought he just absolutely nails his performances here, and I am so excited to see what he has to offer in that role going forward. The way that the final episode was really great. It culminated in this great battle, and the infamous cameo that happens there at the end. Like, if you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
He showed me that part.
It was so great. It was absolutely fantastic. And like I said, James Gunn right now, he's just killing it. This because the Suicide Squad was great. Of course, the Guardian movies have been absolutely amazing. What he's doing with Peacemaker now, it's like whatever he chooses to do, I'm there for it. So absolutely 2 thumbs up for me.
All right, so now it's time to dive into our actual physical media watching that we've done since the last time we visited. And so first thing up is actually The Hating Game, and this is one that I watched by myself. Not because he didn't want to watch it, just because I was sick and I got this new and I was like, I want to watch this now. So
yeah, because I was like, do you want to wait? Because I can.
Well, I'm game to watch it again. I mean, I've already watched it twice.
So did you like it?
I did. I really liked it. So I read this book, and then I immediately got on Amazon and buy it now and watched it twice, and now I'm rereading the book because apparently that's just what I do now. So I don't know. But it is really cute, and I've got a review coming up that combines a review of both the book and the movie, so I'm not going to say too much more about that. Just be on the lookout for it here in the next week or two.
And then we also watched Night at the Museum. I feel like this is one we've had for a long time, and we have never watched it, although I think we've both watched this at some point in time, like on TV or something like that. But, I mean, this is a really fun movie. I mean, come on! And it's kind of a feel-good movie, too, Ben Stiller starts off as kind of an out-of-work single dad, and he's trying to, find a job, or else he's gonna have to move away from his kid, kind of, and then all sorts of shenanigans happen. This is just a lot of great fun. Like I said, even Charlotte, she enjoyed watching this movie, so this was a lot of fun. And Robin Williams, of course, is Teddy Roosevelt. He's probably my favorite part in this.
I mean, it's kind of a who's who movie when you look back at it,
oh,
especially. Yeah. The guy who plays Wong in Doctor Strange plays Attila the Hun. You've got Owen Wilson. You've got what's her name? The pretty girl. You know who I'm talking about. Is it Rebecca something? No, that's not it. You know who I'll think of it.
We'll put the name down here because we're drawing blanks.
Rami Malek plays the Pharaoh. So yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of people in there. And then Brad Garrett plays the Easter Island heads. Dum Dum Bring Me Gum Gum. But yeah, it's a cute movie. It's fun. I actually would kind of like to see the sequels now. It's been a while. I know I've seen at least the second one before because my parents own these movies, but I don't know if I ever saw the last one or not.
Then we watched one of those great classic cinematic masterpieces that was just so full of drama and intrigue and mystery and heart and romance. Good Burger. Oh, okay. Like, obviously that whatever. But this was, I mean, for a 90s film comedy based on a recurring sketch on a 90s children's skit show, it's really not that bad. It's actually pretty fun.
It's fun. It's definitely doofy as heck though.
It has 90s written all over it, and it is goofy as all heck. But it is a lot of fun. Keenan and Kel, of course, and Kel Mitchell with probably his most famous role. I mean, come on. Once you have Ed, you know, I'm a dude, he's a dude, she's a dude, 'cause we're all dudes, hey! I mean, come on. You can't help but have fun with that. And so, yeah, this is a great, fun, dumb, turn your mind off kind of comedy. And Charlotte liked it too. I mean, it's something you can watch with kids. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of physical comedy, so there's just a lot of things that a kid can laugh at.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, next up is one that it took us entirely too long to watch.
Yeah, and even after we got it, and it was like, we have it, but we haven't watched it yet. And I was like, why have we not watched it yet? But
it just took us a while to work up to it, I guess. We needed a good night to do it.
No Time to Die. We are finally done with Daniel Craig as James Bond. And
not that we want it to be.
Not that we want it to be. I am very sad. This movie really was, I mean, this was a fantastic movie and such a great send-off for Daniel Craig as James Bond. Now, there's going to be some spoilers here because this movie's been out for a little bit. So you might skip ahead a couple minutes. But I know a lot of people have griped about Bond's death in this movie. Honestly, we've yet to have a Bond that was this interconnected in a storyline across 5 films. I don't see how you can do it any other way. Because when you're that kind of character and you've done what he's done, I don't know if you can have a truly happy ending. But at least his quote-unquote family did, and they were able to have a happy ending because of his actions. Mm-hmm. So I thought the whole movie was just a love letter to the previous 4 and wrapped things up very well, and it's just dripping with coolness throughout the whole movie, and just the action's great, the drama's great. You're like, there's parts where you're like, no, not him, kind of a thing. There's those kind of moments, and then there's also, like, you know, great moments of, you know, where you're laughing and having a good time with it. And then, you know, like I said, you know, Bond's kind of final scene and everything. It's crazy. So I really loved it. I think it's just a fantastic storyline from Casino Royale to No Time to Die. It's just great.
Not to, like, try to compare everything in the world to Marvel. However, I really felt like his death to me in this was very similar to Tony Stark's death in Endgame.
Makes sense.
In that, you know, he was kind of never going to be able to rest. Like, that was the whole problem. Every time he tried to, like, go off and stop being 007 and be happy, the universe just came after him again. And so I felt like this was kind of his, like, you can go rest now.
Yeah, agreed.
Which was sad, but I think it was a good end for him.
And after all, at the end of the credits, what does it say? James Bond will return. So don't worry, but they'll probably be in a reboot. So, yes. But for now, the Bond is dead. Long live Bond.
All right, so next is one that we had picked up, I want to say used somewhere at some point.
I think that was a vintage stock purchase.
Yeah, I think it was. I think Night at the Museum was also. This is Vantage Point with Dennis Quaid and Forrest Whitaker and some other people.
It's a good cast.
Zoe Saldana's in this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really good cast, and it's a cool movie because if you don't know what this is, basically, it's this, like, big political event. The president of the United States is there visiting. I forget what country they're in, Spain, But anyway, like this whole like assassination attempt goes down, and you end up seeing what happens from different angles from the points of view of different people. And that's like the whole point of the story is that you're seeing all of this stuff, but it takes all of those different points of view for them to finally put together what actually happened, because there's a lot of chaos and not knowing who has done what and where they were doing it from. So
Yeah, I had never seen this one actually before, but you had.
yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was great, and it picks these weird times to like to you're telling the story and you're like all into it, and then it cuts back to like
Yeah, it rewinds.
to tell like another vantage point basically, and so you're like, oh, what's going on? Yeah, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I'm kind of sad it took me this long to watch this movie. It was really great.
Yeah, and it's a short one too. So if you're ever needing like a short like quick flick, it's only an hour and a half long.
Yeah, it hits hard and it ends quick. Absolutely.
All right, so we watched another one of my absolute favorite movies, and I don't remember if we've talked about this one before, but National Treasure.
Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
Oh.
I was obsessed with this movie when it came out. I think I saw it in the theater 3 or 4 times.
It's really great.
That was at the point, if you don't know this about me, at one point I really wanted to be an archaeologist, so the idea of this movie was just like, yes, treasure hunter, like let's find all the cool stuff.
I mean, Nicolas Cage is the type of actor that can take the worst movie and make it awesome, either because he's so over the top it's entertaining, or he's a legit great actor who gives a great performance. I mean, that's him. I mean, either way. This one, he is just on the nose perfect in his role. And
he plays it very cool in this one.
He plays it very cool in this one. He can play crazy like nobody's business. I'm looking at you, Face Off. But yeah, I mean, this is an absolute great movie. And the second one, of course, I don't know if we've talked about that one or not, but of course, we've seen that one too. That one's really great. I really hope they do a sequel to that eventually, because it would be really awesome. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of my favorite kind of adventure films.
Yeah, it's always very satisfying and very upbeat.
All right, so we got the big, nice Ghostbusters 4K box set, and we've promptly only watched Ghostbusters, me and Charlotte have. I mean, it's been kind of crazy lately, so I'll hold this one up here. We've talked about this one before. Love Ghostbusters, the original one. Of course, we need to watch Ghostbusters 2, and still need to watch Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think Ghostbusters Afterlife has taken over the No Time to Die part in our collection of like, this is a movie I'm like so excited to see, and I haven't watched it yet. Why has this not happened? But whatever. So, but I mean, this is a comedy classic. Slimer's awesome. I mean, the comedic talent in here is absolutely amazing, and it's just a bona fide classic, regardless of what Michelle says.
I'm sorry, I'm just not that into it. Like, it's not bad. I'm just like, eh.
I know, I'm just giving you a hard time. But no, it's, me and Charlotte will get to Ghostbusters 2. And then finally, mercifully, we'll watch Ghostbusters Afterlife. So there you go.
All right, next up is a 90s classic, Kindergarten Cop.
It's not a tumor.
Yes, this is my favorite Arnold movie of all time, I'm pretty sure.
It's really awesome.
The kids in it crack me up, especially now having a kid that's the same age as the kids that he's supposed to be teaching.
Oh my gosh,
in this.
yes.
The little girl Emma in this, I don't know if she's on the cover somewhere probably. Oh yeah, this is kid he's holding right here. She reminds me so much of Charlotte. So much.
I'm a princess.
Yeah, I'm not a policeman, I'm a princess.
Yeah, she's really adorable. And all the kids are.
Yeah, and then I mean, like, you've got this like super cuteness, but then you've got like this kind of epic like action fighting thing going on, because I mean he is supposed to be a cop like undercover, so yeah.
You're not so tough without your car, are you? I mean, there's some great lines in this movie.
I love her character.
Yeah, oh yeah, she's great. But I mean, like when Arnold, shut up, and then all the kids start crying. When he beats up the guy who's been hitting his kid and his wife, like everybody's cheering at that point. You're like, and then especially like the principal who's been on his butt the whole time. She's like, how did it feel when you? And she's all like excited, and everything. This movie is just great 90s comedy action, and it's Arnold kind of at his height. I mean, he started off as like a just serious buff action star, but he really morphed into a nice comedic kind of role. He's really great at the comedy stuff as well. So this is one of my favorite movies by him as well. I agree.
Yeah, I think you kind of get the best of both worlds with him in this movie.
Absolutely.
So we went to see Spider-Man No Way Home. Finally. I managed not to get spoiled at all before we went, which was a minor miracle.
Yeah.
You only knew a tiny bit of stuff.
Really, I think at the end of the day, I came out pretty well unscathed, especially for somebody who spends quite a bit of time on Twitter.
And I spend like no time anywhere, so
Yeah.
that was pretty safe anyway. But really, it was more that my students at school didn't spoil it for me, which was surprising.
I will say I do have a habit of, if a new movie comes out and it's within a month of it being released and they're already talking spoilers, I have a habit of just blocking those people. So if you're one of those people that does that and you come across and you're like, these nerds just blocked you on Twitter, that's kind of why, because I do believe that there still should be some time where we respect people that haven't had the chance, especially in a pandemic when some people can't make it. Say.
But I think at this point we can say that, okay, if you haven't seen it, spoiler.
Like, go 30 seconds.
But because all of our former Spider-Men are in it,
Yep.
the first thing I wanted to do when we got home was watch all the other Spider-Man movies.
And we took this opportunity to get them all on 4K!
K.
So yeah, it's awesome. And all of these
Yes.
are like reference quality in 4K UHD.
These were beautiful, but those were like, holy smokes.
Yeah, I mean, like, and both, because I mean, these had the more digital kind of look, and these had the more filmic look.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with either one. I think it's just it's a preference thing, but either one, like what they did for the restorations on these are just spectacular. These were so fun to revisit, and like the Raimi trilogy. I mean, come on. I mean, I don't think we're after the Batman movies, that and the initial X-Men movies. That's what started the whole comic book movie craze, and they are Spider-Man 2. I still think is one of the best comic book movies ever made. And it's just absolutely amazing. 1 is great. 3, I think, is really underrated after watching it.
Yeah.
I think it's really underrated.
I think having a lot more stuff to compare it to these days, I think I can kind of see it a lot more kindly. Now, I always enjoyed it and loved it, I think probably more than most people did.
Mm-hmm.
But considering, I know one of the complaints about Spider-Man 3 initially was that there were too many villains happening all at the same time. But then kind of this time watching it and having watched so many other superhero movies since those came out, it's like, you know what? It really wasn't that big a deal. It kind of made sense.
I don't feel like they shoehorned. It was a little shoehorned in, but there have been far worse offenders, honestly. And I think I kind of want to see a 4th one now, but I don't know if we're gonna get one.
Bring back Toby.
Yeah, but also bring back Andrew.
Yes,
because
him too.
I still maintain, I think Amazing Spider-Man 2 is supremely underrated. It got so much crap when it came out. And I remember not seeing it for a long time because of all that. And this is the last time I've ever listened to public opinion on the matter. Because I saw this and I was like, that's not that bad.
The end of it just hurts my feelings.
It does. But I mean, overall, it's not that bad. And multiple viewings since, including, here a little while back, this is good. I really want to see a 3rd one again. I really want to, even though we saw some of, a little bit of a follow-up with Andrew and other things, I want to see a follow-up on this. And I think there's really a whole lot to do here. Both Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are spectacular Spider-Man, along with Tom Holland. Spider-Man fans eat just as well as Batman fans, in my opinion, as far as having great interpretations in live action. And, just very thankful for that because it's great.
Well, and I would argue that the Spider-Men have been more distinctly different than the Batman have.
Fair. Okay, I can see your point because there is a little bit more of a difference in the personality, whereas I can admit most of the Bruce Waynes are very broody. No parents. I'm looking at you, Lego Batman.
Which we also watched. We'll talk about that in a
We'll
minute.
talk about that one here in a little bit, yeah.
But yeah, I think that these 3 Spider-Men are all really distinctly different. Their personalities are different. They kind of start in different parts of the story. So I don't know. I think that they're cool. So, yeah.
We'll watch them again soon. Speaking of Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman 1984, again, and also speaking of movies that the general public seems to have really hated and we loved, I'm sorry, I feel no shame in loving this movie. I thought it was really great, and it still hits me in the heart, and feels like I want to drop my heart into a bucket of boiling tears every time at the end of this movie. So, it's
And
great.
somebody hits you in the grief bone.
Yeah, exactly. If you're an Office fan, you know what we're talking about. But I mean, it's a different version of Wonder Woman. It very much reminded me in a lot of ways of the 1970s Linda Carter Wonder Woman, and I don't make any apologies in that. I still think it was a great I can't wait to see another one.
Well, and I think that one thing I like about Wonder Woman that is also something I liked about Captain America is that you kind of get to see the results of like what is it like for somebody who doesn't age normally, who actually has to watch the people that they love, die and disappear and move on, and they have to move on with their own lives. This movie, I will say, the first time we watched it when it came out on Christmas Day, like was it 2 Christmases ago now?
Yeah.
I bawled. I'm not talking about like I just had tears streaming down my face. I mean, I was like sobbing over here like for like 15 straight minutes.
Like, do I need to pause this? Like,
because I don't know why it hit me so hard to watch her say goodbye to Steve that time. Like, it was way harder than watching it in the first movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next movie is one that I have seen lots of times, and so have you, but we got it on 4K because I just knew that it would be stunningly beautiful, and that is Interstellar.
It is glorious.
It
4K. It's an experience. It's again another reference quality kind of film, and the sound is great on it.
And the IMAX part was great.
The IMAX parts are great, absolutely. And I mean, it's Nolan, and it's I think one of the best Nolan movies. It's definitely like The Dark Knight, Inception, Interstellar, like those all really make a great case for being his best film.
I think the thing that I love about him is that he takes these like super far out science fiction concepts and somehow manages to make them seem totally plausible.
Yeah.
Like that always is fascinating to me, and I love space set movies, and so this one is like one of my absolute favorites.
It feels so grounded when he does stuff like that.
It does.
It just, I can't explain it. Yeah, it's just really great.
It's like everything is normal except this one thing, and that's the point of the movie. Mm-hmm. So I love it.
Charlotte had to have her picks as well, and one of these was when we kind of streamed, what do you want to watch? And she picked Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I love. I mean, this is a legit great crossover movie, and I just want more. I mean, it gets the Turtles right. It gets a version of Batman right that works well with the Turtles, and I love the crossing of a lot of the villains in this. You get the Shredder, you get Ra's al Ghul, you get the Joker, you get the Penguin, and a whole bunch of other ones in Arkham Asylum. It just works really well, and it's set up for a sequel. Please make a sequel happen because it will be amazing.
I also really loved Damien and Barbara's interactions with the turtles and like being around the turtles and that too, because Damien is always so cranky about everything, and just to like see him around the turtles who are all just so full of joy, it was really great.
Yeah, Donnie, he's calling the mutagen the ooze, and Barbara's like, I'm not calling it that. It's a legit great animated DC Turtles movie.
And on that note, we are preparing for the Batman to come out, and so last night,
I'm Batman. I'm awesome. I got a 9-pack. I'm awesome. Oh my gosh. If you're a Batman fan and you don't like this, like, I don't know what to tell you.
or if you haven't seen it, like,
Oh my
go
gosh,
pick it up
this
immediately.
is so good. Will Arnett is such an amazing Batman in the comedy sense, but it's comedy that is so respectful and just treats the whole any type of Batman as just, it's a love letter to Batman. And it is so well done. It is so funny. I did not expect to love this movie as much as I did when Michelle got it for me for like, what?
I think it was like your first Father's Day or something. And I bought it, honestly, like half as a gag gift because we had not seen any of the Lego movies and we didn't know that they were actually good.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, it's a kid's Batman movie. Like, here, you can watch this with Charlotte. And then we actually ended up really loving it.
All right. So that's all we watched this month.
That's it.
Lest we forget. Honestly, are you surprised that we were... Come on.
Because who even would I be if this wasn't in the What Are We Watching? We're currently... We just watched Half-Blood Prince last. I don't remember which ones we had watched in the previous one, but yeah, we're always kind of constantly in a state of being somewhere in the middle of these. Sorry, not sorry.
And can you believe that Dumbledore gets killed by Snape? What?
That was the only spoiler I knew about Harry Potter before I actually read it.
I am sure that was hard to avoid.
Well, and the funny thing is why I knew it, because there's this old video on YouTube. It's the WTF blanket. It was like a parody of the old Snuggie commercials.
Creepy dad's line seductive poses.
So there's this one part in it where, like, I think it's a lady's like laying down reading a book, and it's like, spoiler alert, Snape kills Dumbledore. And I'd seen that stupid parody commercial so many times. That was literally the only thing I knew about Harry Potter, other than like that he was a wizard, obviously. But
you're a wizard, Harry.
That was the only spoiler I knew. So when I got to that part in the book, I was like, well, I knew that was coming.
All right, that is really what we've been watching so far here for the last month or so. Please let us know in the comments what you think about any of our thoughts on any of these films. Also, if there's something that you would like for us to watch that we haven't really reviewed yet, please let us know, and we'll try to get that whenever possible. Again, as we stated before, if you like what we're doing here at D's Nerds, we're just two nerds on one channel talking about the things we love and why we love them. Please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you know whenever we have new videos coming out. We also have merch. Yes. Great model work there, Michelle.
Thank you.
If you go down to the link in our description, it'll go to our store, and anything you buy there just supports the channel. And if you do so, thank you very much. So even if you just want to look around, thank you as well. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, on Facebook when I feel like it, basically. I mean, come on. Social media, especially. Y'all, quick aside, social media with fandom right now, y'all crazy. So, yes, I do take breaks. But if you're missing us in between videos, you can follow us there, and we're posting stuff every now and then. So, we're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So, guys, happy watching the Batman. It's finally here. Enjoy. So, until next time, I'm Chris.
I'm Michelle.
And we are D's Nerds. You guys have a great, safe rest of the day.
Bye.